I set a boundary and my partner cannot handle it. 29M, 28F.
I, 29 meters, recently set a boundary with my girlfriend, 28F, and she has had a breakdown because of it. We've been dating for close to 2 years at this point and we've been living together for almost a year. It hasn't been perfect of course, but we usually can sit down and talk like adults about our issues and either resolve things or find a compromise. It's honestly been some of the best times of my life being with her. The only issue that has cropped up again recently, and that's when this is personal free time. To give some background on us. I work in special effects full-time at a studio in New York, and she works as an aide at a developmental center for disabled children. She also takes college classes part-time. We leave at the same time each morning. She gets home at 3:30ish and I get home at 6:30ish.
I have a small but strong circle of friends that I don't see much in person anymore due to me moving out of state. Thankfully we're all gamers so we can stay in touch. She has no strong friend circle, only friendly co-workers and acquaintances. We live in a smallish studio apartment. In the beginning of the relationship she made it clear that she needs her partner to be very present, physically and emotionally. It was a bit of an adjustment period, but I decided that as long as I could still play D&D every week that I was okay with this. My schedule essentially has looked like this for almost 2 years. On weekdays, wake up, work, come home, spend time with GF, stay up a little after she falls asleep, quietly. Fast forward to earlier this week.
Last Sunday when I was about to play, she said she doesn't like it when I play and that she feels I put D&D ahead of her in our relationship. She said she hates the voices, that she hears me having fun with my friends and feels left out, and that she feels alone when I play. She doesn't really have strong hobbies. She asks me to cut back to bi-weekly instead of weekly. I initially said I would, and after more thought I told her that didn't mean to put D&D over her and that I've been doing better. I've been planning more dates and mostly ignoring my media until we part ways for the night. After some days I realized that her request doesn't sit well with me. It was building resentment in my head that I couldn't have this one night a week to engage in a hobby I love even if it doesn't mean the same to her. Since resentment is poison to relationships, I knew I had to say something soon. I love her a lot and I don't want to lose her, but I have to set this boundary.
So I did, and she did not take it well. The conversation went something like this. Hey babe, I need to talk to you about something. She waits. I've been thinking more about what we talked about. And when I said yesterday after dinner that I was committed to meeting your needs, you asked how you can meet mine. This is it. I'm fully ready to meet your needs in this relationship. How can I do that while still meeting my needs? Specifically the ability to engage in my favorite hobby with friends once a week. She replied in a monotone. Just play the game. I asked if that's how she truly felt since she seemed less than pleased. She replies, I said just play the game. It's important to you and you should be able to do what you want. All with that same dejected look. And sullen, sad voice. She then asked to be left alone. Texted me to let my mom know she might not come along on a day trip into the city to see her. And hasn't said anything to me except good morning since last night. I've even offered compromise such as changing up the day so I'm not always taking every Sunday. And or going somewhere else for a few hours to spare her the sound. I don't think I'm being unreasonable. I genuinely want this relationship to work. And I've been trying harder for it. It just feels like her reaction is extreme for something relatively small. She has strong needs. I don't ask for much, but this is the limit of my patience. All I want is this one thing and I can't even have that in her head. Edit. Thank you all so much for the plethora of responses. I'm going to talk to her again tonight with the intent of understanding more about her feelings. Some of her texts today leave me confused, so I'm going to sit down with her and just say, look, I think we're not on the same page here. I think what we should do is this. I'll wait here and listen to you. Let out all your feelings, the reasons for them, and your ideal solution. I won't interrupt or invalidate what you say. Then I do the same thing to you. And you sit and listen. Then we talk about it. Hopefully that is able to start a working solution.
She sounds codependent.
You're not being unreasonable at all. It's healthy to have some hobbies, interests, and friends of your own that you engage with separately from your partner. One day a week is not excessive in any way. Your GF sounds pretty needy and codependent. I'd be encouraging her to try a new hobby or volunteer or something to get out of the house and meet some people and make some friends of her own. What you're describing sounds suffocating. My partner and I are both mid-40s and we do have a date night each week, even if it's at home, and usually have dinner most nights together.
But after dinner and on the weekends, I'm often gone doing my hobby or volunteer work several days, and he typically has a weekend a month where he goes up to our cabin with the guys. We do have an overlapping hobby that we do one weekend a month usually, but otherwise, we do a lot of things independently. Her reaction is pretty over the top and immature.
She needs a hobby or to get on Meetup or something. Is she scheduling her fair share of your dates? Or is she putting that all on you to do? Scheduling together time gets important, especially 2 years in, but both parties need to be on the same page. And I assume she doesn't have close friends since she isn't from NYC originally? I dunno. These are all kinda her problems that she should be looking inwards to solve. You did the right thing. She can't ask you to sacrifice something you like just because she doesn't have a friend circle of her own. If she feels left out when you play, she should do something to keep herself busy. You are playing once a week. That's pretty genuine. If you give in to her requests due to her sulking, chances are, she will make you get rid of the game altogether someday. She's trying to drag you down to a life without any social activities other than the ones with her. Don't let her. And she's stooped to a point where she's holding her presence in family gatherings as hostage. That would make me question the relationship. Seems like she's trying to use her emotions to control you. Now she doesn't want to go see your mom to spite your actions. She needs friends and a hobby. I've been your girlfriend before when I was in a much darker place in life. I was super insecure, and frankly, that made me incapable of a healthy relationship with boundaries. Your girlfriend needs to work on herself. The need to be around you 24/7 is not healthy and probably stems from insecurity or fear of abandonment. And if she does not get those emotions in check by beginning to understand, then she will begin self-destructing. Whether that be though causing relationship problems, infidelity, etc. It will happen. She will need to either get individual therapy, or solve whatever issue is leading to her insecurities. For me, living alone was a huge help. It forced me to be alone with myself and really helped me to learn that I am okay by myself. Another thing I did was begin going to the gym. That was huge as well. It really helped me gain confidence and be happy with the person I saw in the mirror. I really think this is a boundary you should hold firm on. You need your alone time. Alone time is healthy and essential for a good relationship. And it's extremely important for your own mental health. Ever since I did the work, I have become the truly healthiest and happiest version of myself. My boyfriend and I have set date nights, but we also have set alone times. It is without a doubt the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. Good luck, op. Not gonna lie. People who don't have any strong hobbies they're passionate about always freak me out a little, lol. But that's just my bias. I'm curious if you've tried inviting her to your D&D nights? If she's willing to join, that might help her out a bit. But I have a feel that her loneliness goes deeper than this. If I was you, I'd ask her if she could have it totally her way. What would her ideal week look like? In her ideal fantasy, how much time would you be spending together and what would you two be doing? I think it would be good for her to visualize that so you have a solid idea of what she's after. There might be a disconnect with what you both consider quality time together. Once you know her ideal, you two can pull back and possibly find a reasonable compromise. She then asked to be left alone. Texted me to let my mom know she might not come along on a day trip into the city to see her. And hasn't said anything to me except "good morning" since last night. So she's punishing you for having set a very reasonable boundary and standing firm that you will engage in your hobby? That is not okay. She needs to learn how to self-soothe and how to be on her own and entertain herself. Those things aren't your responsibility. Does she has hobbies and friends outside of your home? My partner also plays D&D every Saturday and every second Sunday. Sunday is at our home. Saturdays are at his friends, which is in my favor due to me working Saturdays, and when I arrive home at 9 p.m. I want peace and silence. There's for sure a compromise y'all can find. You're not her emotional support mammal. You're allowed to have a moments for you and your hobbies. Your GF had attachment issues, and it's not fair for her to dump them on you or make you responsible for them. She needs therapy and her own hobbies, or your relationship will become you always catering to her needs, which might lead you to resent her. Your game takes a few hours and you're still at home. It's not like you take off weeks at a time and go elsewhere without her. Remember, boundaries are there for a reason. Your GF is trying to get all of her emotional and social needs met though you, and that is just not sustainable for you or for the relationship. She will literally burn you out if you're not careful. Your GF must develop other interests or get new friends before she sucks you dry. One person cannot be everything for the other. Hold this boundary, but expect more tantrums as she sounds a bit manipulative. K. Her expectations are unreasonable. Frankly, you should be spending more time on solo pursuits, and you both should be making friends. Her communication has also become really toxic. Has she always gotten her own way before? Have you ever not agreed to something she asked? I hope she finds a hobby that doesn't involve breaking boundaries. #respect each other's space. It's healthy to have time away from your to spend with friends and your hobbies. It's good for both of you to have time apart. That doesn't mean you don't prioritize one another. In fact, part of prioritizing one another is giving each other space for your own interests. Some people don't have interests outside of being in a relationship, and that's going to be a problem long term. Her not having a strong group of friends is a bit of a red flag, meaning that she depends on you for 100% of her social interaction. That's a lot of pressure to put on one person. I've been there, and it's not fun after a while. It's not fair to you to demand you give up all your other relationships and hobbies. And she's also not being fair to herself by not pursuing her own relationships and social circle. Eventually you will reach a breaking point. Perhaps sooner than later. There is hope. Maybe look for a social hobby you two can enjoy together that allows you both to meet people. Find a way for her to build up her own social circle. Are there events she could attend? Groups she could join? This relationship isn't doomed yet, but something needs to change before you both resent each other. And there's only so much you can do, as a lot of this depends on her. As someone in prolixity to your career field, I will say it's important to have you time and decompress. Have friendships you maintain. Your GF is not a secure attachment type and hasn't learned to self-soothe when she's alone by herself, cause she definitely suffers from anxious attachment issues. Hence why the lack of friends. No hobbies. No interests shows she doesn't know how to pour into herself to make herself happy. Why? She doesn't understand healthy relationships require both parties to not rely on their partners 24/7 for every need. The basic relationships needs? Yes, this is a given. But companionship? You are supposed to rely on that more with your friends. Your partner can feel like your BFF, but shouldn't be strictly your only friend. You should have friendships outside of a relationship always. She also needs a third place. You have one for D&D. She needs something similar, even if it's a virtual third place. She needs one badly. It'll help her feel less lonely and more secure in herself over time. She then will carve out time for such things, allowing you D&D time with your friends. It's a red flag when a partner is trying to monopolize every second of your time because they feel lonely due to not cultivating a life outside the relationship and their job. She needs to put her socializing as her responsibility to get out there. Plus you live in NY. Oblivious she can find something to go do since there are millions of activities and group events in each borough of the city lol. So you are wise to set this boundary and encourage her to go online. Look for activities to start doing. Be very encouraging as it's a sign of good mental health to keep active like this and a sign of healthy relationships when a couple has separate interests that they love. So emotionally manipulative. And yes, immature. I will just mention that my friend is getting divorced this week. He was in a 12-year marriage where his wife slowly stopped letting him have personal time and hobbies. She would always get specifically upset about D&D. It was one of the last things he clung to because he felt strongly about it. However, she made him feel guilty and they would argue every time he played. IDK man, do you want this to be your future? I think you need to be with someone more independent. Hi. You are in an abusive relationship. This is not normal and this is not healthy. She is extremely codependent and this sickness of hers should not be enabled. For peace of mind, give her the option of therapy. But she is acting like a prison warden over you. You deserve to have time to yourself and not be suffocated by this hoverer. Please take a step back and really look at this relationship. Are you actually happy? What she has done is manipulate you and probably has isolated you from friends and family at this point, which is a hallmark of abusers. Wake up. Wake up. This is an abusive relationship. Start looking for a place to stay honestly. I went through this with playing poker. I gave it up. It wasn't enough. I gave up all my other hobbies as she complained about them one by one. It wasn't enough. 5 years later when I had no hobbies, nothing to be passionate about but her, and felt like an empty void inside. She said I was boring and didn't excite her like I did when we first met. Ending that relationship was the most liberating feeling I have ever felt. She needs to work on herself and her need to be the center of attention. Do what you want to do and let her figure out her own emotional issues. She is not your problem to fix. She's an emotional vampire and will suck you dry if you let her. Invite her to play?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.